This is the Analysis in Chains with Nathan Williams and Neil Kieran.
Greetings, my lovelies. Welcome to Analysis in Chains by CryptoNews.com, your daily source of all things crypto. I want to open with a question. What problem are you solving? It's an important question and may feel a little bit tangential to our usual blockchain and crypto themes of this podcast, but it's come up a few times recently, and I wanted to address it. I talked to a lot of people who want to get into the crypto scene, a lot of people who are at a crossroads in their career, new graduates, and recently I signed up for LinkedIn's new career advice-giving platform because LinkedIn asked me to. I received a couple of messages that I thought would be worth sharing with you because I've seen this over and over and over again. There's a certain mentality that is hard to break out of when you're just starting your career or when you're trying to change your career. And especially now that blockchain is so hot, I'm sure a lot of people are trying to think about changing their career, going into blockchain, figuring out exactly how, or maybe starting a company in blockchain and not being sure what company to start. And so I've got two messages that I'm modifying them slightly to protect the innocent here, but that I would like to read to you. So one person wrote me and said, I studied science with a certain focus in Germany. I worked for a scientific institute for half a year doing research, but then my life partner got very ill and I had to quit the job. After that, I had to restart my career at a scientific software company that included coding and databases for 9 months, and I was fascinated. But the job itself was not that great. I was working in the public office of a city on a project that was aiming to connect a number of different data sets with the financial part of the organization, but the company wasn't really sure what they wanted or how to do it. And so as a result, as interesting as the project looked, I actually spent the last 9 months just sitting around and sometimes sorting some data. The conditions of the job were okay, but the work was slow and not challenging at all. And so I'm planning to use the time to learn more and get a better job when the project is over. But I'm not sure what direction is best. I could go back for more coding. On the other hand, I was told in a training for a project manager that I might have potential as a project manager. So I know I have some deficiencies in that area I would have to learn. But another option is I could just hold still and be okay with the boring work and take advantage of the safety of an established job. Do you have any advice? So my response to this was I said, it sounds like you have some good decisions to make. The first thing that I thought of when reading your message was a talk on motivation that I saw before, a TED Talk. It's worth watching, but the idea behind it is that people are motivated by more than just money. It's the ability to have control in our jobs, to master a skill that really matters, and to be doing work for a good reason and purpose that makes us really engaged. And I gave the link, which is to TED.com. And just look up, by the way, Dan Pink's talks on motivation. And I can put the link in the description. Anyway, I continue. So because of this, the specific tasks or job title are less important than the environment you are in, what you have control over, and what you're working towards. You could be a coder, a project manager, or something completely different. And it could be better than now or worse than now, depending on the company and boss you have. One thing you can try is this. Instead of thinking, what job do I want to do? Think, what problems do I want to solve? What job do I want to do means that the whole purpose part of your motivation is never part of your decision in choosing a career path. If you become a coder, maybe it's because you want to work for someone helping the world, or maybe it's because you're working for someone destroying the world. You have no idea. That doesn't enter into the decision because the job you want to do is just being a coder. But if you ask, what problem do I want to solve? Then that means you figure out your purpose first, and then look at how you can serve that purpose second. So step 1, find the right problem. Maybe you want to solve a problem that you encountered from your previous jobs, or maybe a different problem from your life, or that you hear about on the news. Maybe you want to solve the problem of bad access to data on science, or a big world problem like plastic pollutions in the oceans or global warming, or a personal problem like taking care of sick relatives. Step 2. How do you solve this problem? Well, there are a lot of ways. Maybe you find a company or a nonprofit that is already working on the problem that you want to solve and you join them. You look at the skills you already have and see if there's something that you can do for that company that will help them solve the problem. And maybe you don't have the skills yet to solve the problem, or you don't know how. So to make a bigger impact on the problem, you go back to school and get the skills you need. There's nothing wrong with that. Or maybe there's no one solving the problem properly right now. So then maybe you get together a team of people who also want to solve the problem correctly, and you start a company or an organization together to solve it. So you start with looking at the problems you want to solve, and then we can talk about how to solve them later. And that was my response. But what was interesting is the same day, I got a very similar request from another fellow who wrote to me and said, "Hi, I'm just finishing up a degree in international business, and I'm very interested in blockchain. I love startups, and I want to work in a startup environment, but I'm confused as to what role I should go for, and I'm looking for advice." The 3 fields that are interesting are blockchain technology, business development, and project management. And hopefully I'll be able to find a startup that has good startup culture. Could you give me some suggestions for some roles that would be suitable for me given these interests? So I said, I'm glad to meet and hope I can help. It sounds like you have an interest in hot topics right now and shouldn't have trouble finding opportunities. You just need a bit of focus. First, and I recommend this to almost everyone I meet, try to think in terms of problems that need to be solved. Most people think in terms of skills and resources that they have, or in terms of jobs they'd like to do, or in terms of great ideas they've come up with. But it's always more effective to think in terms of problems. This is both true for job seekers and for entrepreneurs. So I own a business. I never have a job available. I only have problems that I need people to solve, and I only hire people when I see I have a problem and that I'm going to need help with it. So if I need to build software more quickly, then I hire a software engineer. If I need more customers, I might hire a business development manager. If I need to run an event, I might hire an event manager, and if I don't know how to make a contract, I might hire a lawyer. But it's all driven by the problem I need to solve and how big a pain it is to me. I say this because if you go for a job interview, you should not be proving to the person interviewing you that you are a good student, a good business development manager, a good project manager, or a good engineer. You should prove to them that you care about their problem and want to help them solve it. I mean, you're going to be entry level, so maybe you don't know all the solutions yet. But the fact that you care about the problems of the person hiring will make a big difference when looking for a role. And here are my thoughts on the roles you talked about. 1, business development. If you do this, then you're going to get an amazing network. If you do it well, your network will be awesome. You will be the salesperson making contracts with people outside the company. The challenge is being trusted with this role because you will need to know the product, you will need to know what kinds of customers the company needs, and you'll need to know how to build relationships. Now, personally, as a small company, I would never hire a junior business developer. I would much rather hire a senior business developer for double their salary. Why? Because if I'm with a junior business developer, you pay 4,000 euros a month, and it takes 6 to 12 months before they develop their network enough to make their money back. So by the time they develop their network, they're valuable. And they've some other company's going to come and offer double their salary, and then they're going to leave you. So now I've paid for training and their network development, but now it's someone else who benefits. But if you find a startup that's hiring junior business developers, I'd say it's a good skill to have. You should probably go for it. All right, second, project management. So in a big company, this means being organized, using a budget properly, managing teams, making a Gantt chart, checking supply chain, etc. In a small company or a blockchain startup, it can mean anything. It can mean intern. Just be sure you know what the project is that you're going to be managing before going into the company, because it's a good position for a jack of all trades, but it might be hard to get ahead if the role isn't clearly defined. Now, the final thing, blockchain technology. You can do business development or project management in blockchain technology. It's not really its own field, but it's possible that you meant this in terms of actually being an engineer or in terms of being the architect for a blockchain solution, like figuring out how the system and incentives will work, the token economics and game theory, all of that. For both of these, I recommend doing your own projects on the side. If I'm hiring a blockchain engineer, I always give preference to someone who has done smart contracts in their spare time or worked on an open source project or whatever. And as for someone designing the token economics or the white paper, I'd never trust that to someone who never did it before. This is one of those positions where you just have to start doing it on your own. Now, finally, when choosing the direction for your career, you should also think of what problems you want to work on that are external to you. Blockchain's a tool. It's a tool to solve other problems. Figuring out what you want to use it for is going to help. What problems do you care about? What do you want to fix the problems in finance where companies are taking too long to get paid? Do you want to fix the problems in poverty in the developing world? Do you want to fix the problem of plastic in the ocean? Do you want to fix the problem of food being wasted? There's so many problems. Choose some that you find interesting. And I gave him some homework, and I said, make a list of problems that you'd like your career to focus on. Make a list of companies that are working on these problems, ideally using blockchain, and make a list of ways you'd like to contribute to solving these problems. Finding customers, managing teams, building products. So these were the letters that I sent. And I bring them to you because being in the startup world, I've encountered over and over and over again, people start with themselves. They start with their ideas, with the resources they have. They go, what can I get out of this? What can I do with this? Which direction should I go? But whether you're applying for a new job or starting a company or even negotiating a pay raise, if you think in terms of what problem you are solving, it will make life easier. So let's imagine you're negotiating a pay raise. Think in terms of what problem you're solving. You know, if you're a business development manager, or if you're a burger flipper at Burger King, you are solving a problem. Is the person whose problem you're solving willing to pay more for it? It's a good question. If you're solving the problem of you don't have enough customers and your solution brings in customers that pay money, how much does it bring? How will they do without you? Is it worth it for them to pay you more to reduce the risk of you leaving? If you are going into a career, you know, people like the old way of looking at who you are and what color is your parachute and what skills you have and what you like doing, that's all very me focused, you know? The new economy is not like that. What color is your parachute is not good enough. What you got to do is look at what problems are out there that people would pay to solve, and then develop the skills that you need to go and solve them. I can't count the number of times people have approached me saying, I want to do a blockchain project, but I don't know where to start. What should I do? And just like with a blockchain career, a blockchain project, you start with what problem do you need to solve? And maybe blockchain's appropriate and maybe it isn't. But always when I look for a blockchain project, I look at, does it include decentralization? Does it require a token maybe? Or a payment solution that's across border? Or a tracking solution? Or a way of having uniqueness among digital items? If so, blockchain might be appropriate. If not, maybe not. And so that's where I would like to leave all of you, with these thoughts on thinking of your life and your career especially in terms of what problem am I solving? I hope you enjoyed this. I'll leave a link to Dan Pink's TED Talk in the liner notes. Do you think I'm right in this? Do you think I'm wrong? I would love to hear your feedback. You can tweet at me or send me a message. And until next time, keep on hashing.